the Metro on WDET. I'm Robin Vincent. Detroit has always run on women's strength, holding families together, organizing blocks, running the quiet machinery of care. Now, the city is giving that strength a formal voice. The Detroit Women's Commission is a new group in the mayor's office. They're meeting monthly to discuss challenges women face in the city and how to improve the lives and experiences of women who call Detroit home. It's getting started at an interesting time. Detroit could have its first woman mayor come November, a mayor that this commission would be working with regularly. Producer Jack Philbrandt spoke with Detroit documenters Colleen Sirocco and Noah Kincaid to learn more about Detroit's Women's Commission. He started the conversation asking about the Women's Commission's role in Detroit's local government.
Yeah, so the Detroit Women's Commission is a really new group that has 9 women who were appointed by the mayor. It's actually part of the Detroit city government. And basically, they are here to represent the unique issues that women in Detroit face. They meet every month, and since they're really new, they're still kind of forming their identity, organizing around the different issues that they care about and finding how they can be most effective. But they do generally care about issues like gender equality in the workplace, different health issues like maternal mortality and how that influences people in Detroit, specifically Black women. And they basically just want to be a voice for stories that don't get told normally from women's experiences, and just to be as influential as they can in government spaces where they previously haven't had that type of influence. I did really like how on their website they are specifying that women to them means a lot of different populations. It includes trans women, it includes people of all ages, even specifying returning citizens, so women coming home from prison. I just thought that even having that on your website is very inclusive. I like seeing that. And I just got an inclusive sense from all of them. They even wanted to take a picture with everybody that came to the meeting. I thought that was really sweet. So it's just really cool to see a group starting out and, they have all of these ambitions and they're just organizing around them and seeing how that works and how long it takes when there's this genuine care. It's just really cool.
Noah, we've covered and focused on similar advisory commissions before. How did this one get formed?
Councilmember Angela Whitfield Callaway, she had LPD draft up a resolution basically calling for the mayor to create this commission. In that regard, it's a little bit different. A lot of the times city council will create the commission and it'll be like advisory to them. But they really wanted this to be a mayoral commission working hand in hand with the mayor, who's the executive and really has a lot more power to kind of get things done immediately on the ground versus, a commission that would be like giving suggestions to city council.
Yeah, I think that is kind of really interesting, it being tied to the mayor as opposed to council. Why do you think they had this tied to the mayor's office?
I think it gives them a little bit more agency, right? It gives them a little more ability to enact change in a more immediate fashion, a more direct fashion. City council, they can pass ordinances and they can, create laws, but the mayor is the person who is like running the city on a day-to-day basis. So I just think it gives them a little more agency, a little more power. Yeah.
Colleen, who serves on this commission?
There are 9 women. They're all in Detroit, based in Detroit. They have really diverse backgrounds, but they're you can just tell by reading their bios, very involved in the community. They're leaders of nonprofits. They're block club leaders. They have been involved in things like education, healthcare in Detroit. So they really represent all of these different issues that we are always covering in documenters. And so there's just a real sense of a little bit of each of these types of issues has a representative in the council. And I just get the sense that they're all really doing this because they care, not because, it makes them look good, but there was just a real good sense of camaraderie with the women. They had just recently hosted a really successful event in September, on September 20th. And so the meeting was mostly talking about that event and how well it went. And you just get a sense that, even though they're just new, starting out, they've already made a really big impact. They've really hit the ground running and made a name for themselves with this event. And it's just giving them more energy to keep working on the things they care about.
Something they also did at the last meeting was write a mission statement. Noah, I think mission statement is one of these phrases that we hear a lot, but might not really understand. Could you kind of talk about what a mission statement is?
Sure. Yeah. It's, a mission statement is it's a formal statement, right, that defines the values and the fundamental goals of an organization, and it tries to do it in simple, concise terms, right? Something that is short enough, it could be memorized, it could be framed and put above the doorway, the entranceway to your office space, and it's not just there as a reminder to the people serving on that body. It's a public declaration to the people that organization or that group serves, so that it's clear to everybody what they are there to do and how they're going to do it. And it adds this level of accountability to them, so that, if someone shows up at a meeting of the Detroit Women's Commission and says, look, I'm having this issue, I'm having this difficulty, this problem, and it says right here that your mission is to find a solution to this problem. It really holds them accountable to the people they serve.
What is the Women's Commission's mission statement? And I'm also curious what it was like being in the room and hearing them kind of come together to create the mission statement.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll just start out by reading the mission statement that was completely formalized and voted on in the meeting last week, which is: the Detroit Women's Commission champions platforms where the voices of women foster a city where equity, justice, and well-being are realized through advocacy, education, and impactful partnerships. So that's the mission statement. It was pretty similar, the one that they had as their draft. They were really going into detail with every single word and making sure that they all agreed on what was in there and what wasn't in there. I think they changed champions platforms from champions a platform, and they had a whole discussion about the difference of, is this just our platform? Are we representing other people? So it was just really interesting to hear how thoughtful they were being about what their identity was and what they wanted to commit to. It was a really, almost kind of perfect conversation, because every suggestion was, taken really well and supported by the other women. If there was something that didn't make sense to someone, they asked. So this was a really good conversation, and I feel like all of that care is represented in the actual statement too.
Colleen, what will the mission statement look off the page? What work will the Women's Commission be doing in the community?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think they're really committed to not just being figureheads or saying we have a commission and we're done. They really want to have an impact, and they're trying to be really strategic in what they can accomplish as a new group. They're not trying to do too much, which I think is really smart. So I mentioned that they had an event in September, and that was basically geared towards adult women who are in their career phase of their lives. It was for networking, for resources on small businesses. They had speakers, and they actually had over 200 women-owned businesses represented at this resource fair. And it was really successful. Pretty much everybody that came to the meeting in the audience and spoke at public comment was there and was talking about how great it was. So just doing a really high impact, high visibility event was really big for them. And that's really what they're focusing on, is doing one in the fall for adult age women and one in the spring for younger women. And really just having those two things be like their main focus as they're getting started. Because, if they're trying to do too much, it could, make these initiatives less successful. But if they're really focusing, they're going to have a lot more impact than if their attention was in a lot of different directions. So it may sound kind of like, oh, they're doing like two events, but I think that just hearing from the people who were there, they did have a lot of impact, and they're really just getting their name out there because, even just doing this today, we're getting their name out there. They're so new. I think this is a really good way to spend their time. They also have subcommittees on some of the different issues I mentioned before about women's health, women in the workplace. But I feel like the majority of their effort is going into making these events really successful and getting the word out about themselves as a group.
Noah, what is also interesting to me is looking at a commission right as they're getting started that could be like operating and doing a lot of good work in Detroit for decades to come.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so, right? It was really impressive to kind of witness how together this commission is for how new they are. Detroit Documenters, we've covered or we've tried to attend meetings of several other, commissions and task forces and groups in the city. And, on occasion, we fail miserably. I can think of a couple. We've tried on like 6 occasions to go to their scheduled meetings, and like only once were they actually even there. So to show up our first time, for them to all be there, they were all present. They were on time. Their meeting started on time. They had an agenda printed to hand out to Colleen and everyone else who was there. They were all about business, and it was really great to see.
Detroit Documenters Noah Kincaid and Colleen Sirocco. They spoke with producer Jack Philbrandt about Detroit's new Women's Commission. Coming up, it's flu season, but a lot of people are hesitant to get vaccinated. We'll learn how Oakland County is changing its approach to vaccines amid persistent skepticism. That's next here on The Metro. Stay with us.